I'm Chris Wallace. Low enrollment numbers and millions of canceled policies have the Obama White House on the ropes.
We did fumble the ball on it, and what I'm going to do is make sure that we get it fixed.
But the so-called fix isn't impressing insurance industry leaders or regulators. We'll talk with the head of America's health insurance plans, Karen Ignani, and former Senator Ben Nelson, CEO of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. And our Sunday panel weighs in on the uphill battle to rescue Obamacare. Then in Wyoming, a bitter Republican primary between three-term incumbent Mike Enzi and a potential political dynasty.
I'm running because I believe it is necessary for a new generation of leaders to step up to the plate.
Liz Cheney joins us live in her first Sunday show interview since announcing her run for the U.S. Senate. Plus, it's been 50 years since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The questions about that tragic day remain. Do you believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone assassin?
I don't know. I don't know.
We'll talk with Kathleen Kennedy Townsend and former Congressman Patrick Kennedy about their uncle's legacy. All right now on Fox News Sunday. And hello again from Fox News in Washington. President Obama is scrambling to save Obamacare and just possibly his presidency. On Friday, he met with insurance industry executives to discuss his new plan to undo the cancellation of health insurance for millions of Americans. Joining me now are two key figures, Karen Ignani, head of the industry's top trade group, America's Health Insurance Plans, and from Nebraska, former Senator Ben Nelson, CEO of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. Ms. Ignani, after the president announced his so-called fix, you put out this statement: changing the rules after health plans have already met the requirements of the law could destabilize the market and result in higher premiums for consumers. You and other insurance executives met with the president for more than an hour on Friday. Did he change your mind, or do you still have those same concerns?
Chris, I think it was a very good discussion. All of the CEOs felt that way. We had an opportunity to discuss the marketplace challenges. We have the same goals. We're going to work together to try to get people into affordable coverage. That's what Americans want. We want to provide people coverage, but we do have challenges. The question is, what happens? Who will join the markets? Will it be the young and the healthy balancing out the old and the sick, which is absolutely important to make sure that whomever buys, they'll have affordable coverage.
So it still could destabilize the markets. It still could result in higher premiums.
We have work to do. There's no question, but we have an interest in doing it together and working together on that.
Senator Nelson, your insurance commissioners also put out a statement, and you said the president's so-called fix threatens to undermine the new market and may lead to higher premiums and market disruptions in 2014 and beyond. Now, the president called you personally on Friday. Has your group changed its mind, or do you still have the same concerns?
Well, I think the commissioners still have the same concerns. And keep in mind, some of the commissioners have already found a way to extend the coverage that people currently have into 2014. So there are some that have already done something comparable to what the president's talking about. Others have taken other steps to try to mitigate against this, and some have decided that they're not going to follow what the president has suggested. Keep in mind, it is a suggestion. It is not a ruling, and it certainly is not a law.
Ms. Ignani, explain why this is such a problem for insurance companies, reinstating policies, figuring out premiums for the old plans and the new plans before the end of the year. And what do you think the result is? We know that there are millions of cancellations. Do you think most of those policies will be reinstated or not reinstated?
Well, let's step back, Chris. First of all, the reason that people are seeing changes and seeing communications from insurers is that after January 1, 2014, the law requires us to meet the new benefits. So that's principle number one. In terms of the new announcement, the state insurance commissioners, as Ben Nelson just said, will decide what the rules are in the particular state. Our members are going to work very, very hard to try to support their customers, to provide them options, at the same time making sure that the new market it will be affordable, and that's the key point. And that's where I think there are a range of interests that are very important. Insurance commissioners, the insurance industry, health plans, the administration, consumers working together to try to make sure that they can buy affordable coverage. And that is the issue. How do we balance those risk pools? Who stays out, who goes in? And there's a strong interest in talking that out and working on that now so that people can, in fact, get the coverage that they need. And that's what we're focused on.
Senator Nelson, let me ask you a blunt question. Do you think the president is trying to shift the blame for his promise about if you want your policy, you can keep your policy from the White House to the insurance companies and, frankly, to your insurance regulators?
Well, I don't know that that's the case. What I do think is that the insurance commissioners of every state, from every state, will do their level best to try to take care of their people back home and try to do it within the confines of the law and within the actuarial considerations as well. Worrying about rate increases, trying to hold the line, make certain that the risk pool is sufficient under the rules of law of large numbers, which is what you get with actuarial science. The more people you have in the plan, generally the better the plan is. So excluding some people from the plan creates certain issues. Also, the commissioners are focused on solvency. They want to make certain that this doesn't shift the cost to the point that insurers face and risk insolvency.
Finally, Ms. Ignani, the president started out working with the insurance industry when it came to Obamacare, but lately the White House has taken to bashing it. Here are a few statements.
That market has been like the Wild West. It has been underregulated.
Some of them have health insurance, they think they do, and they get sick, and suddenly the insurance company says, oh, I'm sorry, you owe $50,000.
Ms. Ignani, when the president was going around the country promising if you like your plan, you can keep your plan, did you know that that was not possible under the terms of Obamacare?
I think, Chris, I'm not in the blame game biz. What I want to really focus on is how do we address these reasonable problems. We have an interest in doing so. So as Senator Nelson said, the markets don't blow up. And I think there's a joint interest in doing that. And that's what we're focused on right now, helping our customers. When you set rules in place and an industry meets them and then the rules are changed, that creates the kind of problems that Senator Nelson talked about. So we are focused on trying to address those problems and moving forward. We have a policy disagreement and we're going to work, we continue to work with the White House and with the administration. We're going to continue to do that because we have a shared goal of getting people covered and most importantly, getting people covered affordably.
Ms. Ignani, Senator Nelson, we want to thank you both so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Chris.
We want to continue the conversation now with our Sunday group. Britt Hume, Fox News senior political analyst. Judy Woodruff, co-anchor of the PBS NewsHour. Syndicated columnist George Will. And Bob Woodward of the Washington Post. Britt, in the wake of the president's so-called fix, how much trouble is Obamacare in? How much trouble is President Obama in?
Well, I don't think he did a great deal to relieve him of the political peril that his obviously broken promise, regarded by many as a lie, has put him. And despite the diplomatic language employed there by your guests about the fix, it seems pretty clear to me that the fix won't go very far and won't do very much. And if it did, it would destabilize the market because it would leave out of the exchange policies a great many people of the very kind that they need. They need young, healthy people to sign up and buy these more extensive policies to balance the risk pool so that there'll be enough money to afford to pay for the care of the older, sicker people who are also getting this insurance. So there's both a political problem and a substantive problem, and I don't see that what he's done so far has much alleviated it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the political problem. In the House on Friday, 39 Democrats jumped ship and voted with a Republican plan that I think most people feel would, in effect, gut Obamacare, and there's a general estimate that had the president not announced his fix, that more than 100 Democrats would have joined the Republican effort. Here is a clip from a California Democratic freshman who still voted with the Republican plan.
What we have to do is take the things that are working and continue to build off of that, but then we have to be open as a party for those things that aren't working, to be ready to identify them and fix them and make them better.
Judy, we're a year out from the election, but Democrats in both the House and the Senate have a real problem here, don't they?
Well, and the White House knows that. And what they know, though, is that that vote could have been even worse if the president had not made the accommodation that he did a few days ago. Look, Chris, they know this could imperil the presidency. I mean, certainly when it comes to domestic issues for the rest of the term. Everything the president's tried to do is now on the line. If they can't get this website up and running, if they can't get people to have confidence in this plan. But you talk to smart policy folks in the White House, and they say that there is at least a 50-50 chance, at least, that the website will be working, that people will be signing up, and that the experience overall, that the benefits will outweigh the negatives.
But they're telling you there's a
50% an uphill climb.
They're telling you there's a 50% chance it won't be working by
Well, I'm probably being more conservative than they are. I mean, they are trying to scale down expectations. I think they think there's a good chance, and by the way, they think they have common cause with the insurance industry. I mean, they tell you that they say the insurance companies tell them there's pent-up demand for these policies. They want coverage, and it's in the interest of the insurance industry to sell these plans. So the White House is counting on that too.
Meanwhile, Republicans are having a field day with the president's problems with Obamacare. In the weekly GOP media address, Senator Ron Johnson said that the president's his apology was as phony as his fraudulent marketing of Obamacare. Take a look at this.
Consumer fraud this massive in the private sector could and should bear serious legal ramifications. For President Obama, however, it helped secure enough votes to pass Obamacare and win re-election.
George, is this now a free fire zone for Republicans, and do they have any obligation, in a political sense, to offer a serious alternative?
Well, I think Republicans have offered serious alternatives all along, but right now, no. I mean, the president owns this. His name's on it. He did it without any other votes, so live with it. One Republican put it brilliantly. Scalise of Louisiana, congressman. He said, the president is like a man who burns your house down, then shows up with an empty water bucket, and then delivers a lecture on how bad your house was before he burned it down. That's an untenable position for the president to be in. It was 9 months ago, an official of the Centers on Medicare and Medicaid Services told a conference what we want to avoid is a third world experience. Well, we've had the third world experience, and what Judy rather delicately calls the president's accommodation looks to a great many of us to be illegal. What we're told in grade school when we study civics is that in that building behind you are the two legislative chambers of the federal government, the Senate and the House. Turns out there's a third. It's called the White House press room, into which the president can, on a whim, sashay and rewrite laws. It's an extraordinary civics lesson.
I didn't learn that in school. You know, I hate it when people come up to me and say, you know, you've been around this town a long time, because I always know what that means. Bob, you've been around this town a long time. Have you ever seen anything like this? A president with his 3 years to roll out his signature accomplishment, literally, with his name on it, and it gets so botched.
Well, I have to think about what this is. It's a mess, clearly. But what it isn't, and I think you have to look at the question of motive. And the president's motive here, even though there are deep problems with the implementation, he wants to do something good for 30 million people and get them health insurance. So this isn't Watergate. This isn't Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
No, I'm not saying it's a scandal. I'm just what it seems to be is rank incompetence.
Yeah, there's no question about that. But you see all of these stories in this frenzy out there. The game over. The presidency is over. Some people are saying. I think that's not the case. But here's the other side of this, which I would agree with George Will on. When you go down the road, it's going to get worse. Because you talk to the experts and they will tell you that this is a money issue. It's going to blow a hole in the budget. And as we go in 2 or 3 months from now and have more, are we going to shut down the government? Are we going to pay for the debt we have? All of a sudden this is going to come on the table and people are going to say, my God, it's going to cost much more money than we were spending on these things before. So how you disentangle this is is now on Obama's head. Now, can he learn? Can he? This is an executive function, which is something he's not starred in so far in his presidency. And can he get it together? You know, everyone says and knows he's quite bright. And can he learn to manage? Because this is...
Well, Ms. Ignani certainly got my attention a few moments ago when he said, what we're trying to do is prevent blowing up the insurance markets. That's rather a big deal. And I do think this is a constitutional scandal. Suppose the next Republican president, and there will be another Republican president, comes into the press room someday and says, you know, I really think the capital gains tax does not serve the national interest, so we're just, as an act of executive discretion, going to quit enforcing that for a few years.
Yeah, well,
that's not the rule of law.
It is in a way, but as you know, there's a strong other side on that, and we're at the moment here where people have to make decisions, and this is an implementation issue, and I think people are going to give him discretion.
All right. We're going to keep you all hanging. We're going to talk to the panel, bring them back a little bit later. But first, Liz Cheney joins us for her first Sunday show interview since launching her controversial run for the U.S. Senate in Wyoming.